The other major one I could see somebody using, a source of iodine, would be seaweed, or even a seaweed supplement where they take seaweed and put in capsules. How do you feel about somebody using that if they say, I want to do this more naturally?
Certainly, it's better to get your nutrients from your diet than supplementing with anything. Um, the problem with that is that our food supply is so adulterated right now that it's impossible. In our toxic world, with our exposure to fluoride and bromide at the levels that we have right now, you can't get enough in from food. And we polluted our environment. We polluted the lakes, we polluted the oceans. So interestingly, seaweed and ocean plants have the same mechanism to concentrate iodine from as low gradients in the environment, in this case in the ocean water, to a high concentration inside the plant. And in our bodies, from a low concentration in our bloodstream and in the environment to a high concentration in the thyroid or the breasts or the ovaries or uterus or pancreas, prostate. And there's a transport mechanism called sodium iodine symporter, and you need two sodium atoms and and to do this process. And they're like little taxi cabs. They sit inside the thyroid gland and wait till an iodine molecule comes over there, and taxi cab goes over the cell membrane with two sodium atoms needed to help this process. The iodine gets in the taxi cab, the two sodium atoms drive the taxi cab over, and an ATP molecule is utilized for this. So not only do we use two sodium atoms, we use one ATP molecule. These are crucial things for our body. This is where salt comes into play. Why you need salt with iodine, partly to help with this. Now iodine's inside the thyroid can be utilized to make T4 and T3 and whatever else it's supposed to do. Um, the seaweed has the same sodium iodine symporter. So it also needs sodium in it and to do this. But this sodium iodine symporter can also be overridden with bromide. So if there's too much bromide out here, not enough iodine, that symporter is going to take in bromide and take bromide into the thyroid, take bromide into the seaweed. You're going to brominate thyroid hormone, and the seaweed's going to be full of bromine. Now, I've tested over the years various seaweed pills and seaweed things that you can get over get on the market. What I found was the iodine level varied differently between these products, and bromide levels would vary differently. My guess is it's just whether they're getting it from polluted areas. I don't know what's not polluted at this point. So I think that with our exposure to so much bromide and fluoride, you're just not going to get enough. Is seaweed a better way to do it? Not necessarily, because that can be polluted too. The best way to do it is get your levels checked, get your bromide levels checked, and then as you go on iodine and a known source of iodine, you can recheck your levels of bromide and iodine and see iodine levels going up and bromide levels coming down, at the same time. And that's what we see in our practice.
What would you say to the person at this point? They're buying into the iodine thing. They're going to up their iodine. And this kind of pivots off the seaweed talk before. They want to do it naturally, and they're going to up their seafood intake to get more. Talk about what challenges they may encounter there.
You are not going to get enough iodine in to counter the toxic exposure to bromide and fluoride in our modern consumer world that we live in, period. I can tell you, tested enough people, that's just the way it is. So that's number one. Number two, the oceans are polluted, the lakes are polluted, fish is polluted with mercury. I have people who eat a lot of fish have high levels of mercury, plus or minus high levels of arsenic, and we often have to detox people. It's a mess out there. So wild fish is better than farm-raised fish, but it's all polluted right now.
Since you made it to the end of this clip, I know you're going to love the full episode. Click here to watch. I'll see you over there.
Over the last 50 years, iodine levels have fallen over 50%. We've tested over 8,000 people for our iodine levels, just right below 98% are iodine deficient. The vast majority are severely iodine deficient. In our toxic world, with our exposure.